KSAMC to continue efforts to combat attack on homeless people. Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, says the municipality will be working closely with law enforcement agencies this year to combat deadly attacks on homeless people in the corporate area. Several homeless people were killed last year and others seriously wounded in violent attacks. Speaking to reporters on Monday at a function to feed more than 400 homeless people at the Sir William Grant Park in downtown Kingston, Mayor Williams appealed to people to desist from harming the vulnerable. I believe that our effort has borne fruit, and we are seeing less and less, or we're getting less and less reports about abuse towards homeless persons. But we will continue our efforts to appeal to persons to desist from this, and we continue our collaboration with the police in helping to rid the society of this practice, he declared. Prime Minister Holness said government to take several steps this year to address issues such as crime and violence. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the government intends to take several steps this year to address issues such as crime and violence, as well as improve the country's economic and health sector. In his message on New Year's Day, Mr. Holness acknowledged that health issues, road crashes and crime impacted the country significantly in 2023. He said while murders went down by about 7.5% and serious crimes overall are down 10% compared to 2022, since Jamaica passed the 1,000 murder mark in 1997, it has remained above that for 23 years. The Prime Minister said more effort will be made to target crime reduction, a comprehensive social service response to violence, which will begin this year. He added that resolving road issues will also be high on the government's agenda. Mr. Holness also pointed out that several healthcare facilities will be rehabilitated this year,
which will include education and youth services, faith-based and NGO social partnership initiatives to promote restorative justice and peace building in communities, social safety net support targeted at those most at risk and vulnerable to violence, public health intervention and services, and targeted public education, among other initiatives. Therefore, in 2024, my administration will focus on reducing violence, building our social and emotional intelligence and human capital, strengthening our families, and promoting peace in our land. Now, you may have noticed that we are laying conduits and fiber optic cables to create a high-speed network, GovNet, which is the backbone on which smart technology can be deployed. As a result, you will begin to see more cameras, both for law enforcement on the Jamaica High and for traffic management. The new Road Traffic Act and the electronic ticketing system will begin to have a significant impact on improving behavior on our roads. This year, we will break ground for the major expansion and refurbishing of the Spanish Town Hospital, where I was born. We will also go to procurement to build the most advanced primary care clinics in Portmore and Old Harbour. We have started the digitization of health information systems, and the Maypen Hospital will be the first facility to go live on this digital health information platform.
Lower fares on JUTC buses take effect. Commuters using Jamaica Urban Transit Company buses will benefit from a reduction in fees starting on January 1. It follows last November's announcement by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark at a rollback in JUTC fares. The regular fare will now be $70 down from $100, children will pay $25 down from $30, and pensioners will pay $30 down from $40. Dr. Clark said then that the temporary measure will aim at keeping the rate of inflation down. The move is also a response to public outcry surrounding the recent fare increase for bus and taxi operators. Dr. Clark also announced that fares will be further reduced in April. The measure will last 2 years. Jamaica Teachers Association calls for standardization of education program for gifted children. The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, is calling for the standardization of an education program for gifted children. JTA President Leighton Johnson cited recent reports of a 14-year-old girl being accepted at a local university after excelling at the secondary level. Mr. Johnson said there is need for a policy position and an accelerated program that allows gifted children to advance to the various education levels. He also called for the establishment of a special education center for children with learning challenges in each parish. The JTA president noted that for 2024, greater focus will be placed on special education.
There are some institutions that have this approach. We note UTEC admitting a 14-year-old student who went through the whole gamut of the CSEC levels of education, and she is now at the level for tertiary training. We now want this to be a policy position. We now want this to be regularized so that right across the board, all our students, when they are gifted, they can be afforded these privileges as well. We are going to have a strong focus on special education going forward, identifying additional special education centers in our country, training additional teachers to be in a position where they can assist in assessing our students within our classrooms. What we find is that there are several students who are considered special within our regular classrooms. These students cannot learn within the normal paradigm. These students need special intervention, and our teachers are held to account for the output of these students who cannot learn in a normal setting. It is urgent and important for us to be in a position to increase the country's testing ability so that we can provide interventions and a prescription for our teachers how to treat with these students, as well as to insist that there is attention given to this sector where at least in every parish there is a special education center that treats with students with learning challenges.
Vanish without a trace. The disappearance of 19-year-old Krishmar Joseph C.G. from his Stony Hill St. Andrew community without a trace last week Monday, Christmas Day, has left his mother in anguish, not knowing what has become of her child. It has been 8 days since Estelita Cunningham last saw her son around 11:30 p.m. on Christmas Day at a shop in the smallest community in Calaveras, Stony Hill. What is even more worrying for the mother is that CJ suffers from a mental illness, schizophrenia. I was up there the night when he walked away from the shop, but because I knew he loved parties and one was keeping up the road, I said that it's probably where he is going. I never knew I wouldn't see him after that night up to this day. I didn't see him come home that night. I asked everybody if they saw him. I checked at the party. Nobody saw him, the distraught mother told reporters on Monday. Cunningham says that due to his condition, CJ has wandered off before and will be gone for 2 or 3 days at a time, but never for this long. She said that ending 2023 with her son missing and entering the new year, still no sign of him, has been horrid for her. It don't feel good. It's not a good year for me, she said as her voice broke. Me no know where him dey. Him never go away so long. The year didn't end good for me, and the new year didn't start good for me. Yes, I'm alive, and I have some of my children with me, but I don't know what happened to CG. I just don't know. The distraught 42-year-old mother of 7 is holding out hope that her son will return home in time to celebrate his 20th birthday on January 5th. I am just hoping and praying for the best, she said, though noting she is fearful as to what could have happened to him. Wim could have gone. He was doing all right because I tried to ensure he's on his medication, she said, noting that CG was medicated at the time of his disappearance. Cunningham, who is a caregiver, said her son has not had the easiest life growing up, having lost sight at his left eye when he was 6 years old after a little boy and nails entered his eye and caused damage. CG also lost his father when he was 9, then he dropped out of school when he was 14 years old, which his mother claimed was due to misunderstanding. He was attending Oberlin High School at the time. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was 15 years old. Cunningham said after that time, CJ was diagnosed, she knew something was wrong as him just started to move different. She said she took him to University Hospital of the West Indies, where his illness was identified. She said he has also been admitted at Bellevue Hospital from time to time, noting that he has been on and off in his behavior. She, however, believes that before her son went missing, he was coping, only recalling 2 incidents when he reacted violently towards her in the initial stage of his illness. She had reprimanded him and he had attempted to hit her. At another time, he succeeded in hitting her in the eye, but Cunningham insists that her son is not usually violent in nature and that he doesn't try to hurt anyone in his community. CJ, who is unemployed, would often spend his days at home or walking up the road to the district and then returning home. Sometimes he would go further and end up in Halfway Tree. His mother says, however, that she would often caution him about venturing too far from home. People would normally see him roaming and reporting signs to his mother, but on that day he went missing, nobody spotted him after the fateful night. Cunningham says she reported him missing to the police on Thursday, who told her that she has to play her part too in finding him. I guess my part is to drive around and look, but I don't know where to start. I'm just wondering which direction he could have turned, which part him go, she said with bewilderment, noting that family members and friends have gone out to Halfway Tree and downtown Kingston looking for him, but they came up empty-handed. I'm planning to go and see if I see him today, but I don't know where to go, and then me alone can't look for him. I don't know which direction to turn. That's why I would like the story to be out there, to be put out there, so if anyone sees him, they can inform us or the police, she said. Cunningham, whose children ranges from ages 23 years old, said CJ's siblings are concerned about him and his 6 other brothers, summarizing for the term kidnap CJ. The mother and other family members are pleading with the public to contact 876-217-8671 or the nearest police station if they have seen or have any information about CJ's whereabouts. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.